is up, friends? Thanks so much for joining me today. My name's Kramer Ammons. If you're new here, it's an honor that you're here. Today we're talking about frayed bowstrings or tag ends, or maybe you just need to do a little bit of maintenance, or maybe your string is split. There's three things that could be going on. We're gonna cover all three today and we're gonna do it fast. Let's get right to it. And for the first one, tag ends, Grizzly Jim's gonna share with you what a tag end may be. He's a fellow bowstring maker and he has a plethora basically of wisdom on bowstring. So here's Grizzly Jim.
So what I wanted to have a little chat to you about is tag ends. Now I get a lot of emails and messages about tag ends and people getting very worried about them. They do look unsightly, and if you don't know, then it may look like your string's coming unraveled, but that's not the case. The tag end is just a result of the way that a Flemish string is made, and they're absolutely nothing to worry about. Some people leave them in, some people don't even bother trimming them off at all. I personally, I like a nice neat string, so I do trim them off. I use a very sharp blade and I just nip them off like that. Now this string is in the process of being made, so the tag ends are a little bit longer than they would than the tag ends you'd get with normal wear and tear, but it's just a case of nipping them off and then waxing them down and they disappear. You don't even see them. There are people out there that will burn them off, and I really do not recommend burning a tag end off, not only because putting an open flame next to a bowstring isn't really a good idea. The main reason is because it leaves a little hard knobble that sits in the string, and because the nature of a string, it's always sort of being stretched and compressed, and then sort of what that's going to do, that little knobble's going to be wearing on the splice. This bit of the string is called a splice, just so you know. It's going to be wearing on the splice, and that's going to cause wear and tear, and that's going to degrade your bowstring way quicker than it should. So please don't burn tag ends off. If you are using a blade, be very careful. But you will, no matter how neatly I trim these tag ends and wax them down, over time they will work themselves out again. That is the nature of the string, being stretched and then compressed again and stretched again. They will work themselves out. They are more prominent on something like this. Now this is a very old string. This is getting on for about, I don't know, 8-9 years old. It's an old B50 Dacron string, and you always find with the softer materials like the B50s and the B55s, you will get more tag ends naturally occurring just because of the stretchiness of the material. If you're using something like a fast flight material, you are going to get less of a tag end, but you are still going to get tag ends. That's just part and parcel of a Flemish twist bowstring.
A massive thanks to Grizzly Jim for letting me borrow some of his footage. And I have one thing to add to what he said, but first, Grizzly Jim does have a YouTube channel. If you don't know of him yet, I'm linking his channel below. And also I'm gonna link his website. He's a fellow bowstring maker who makes fantastic bowstrings, been making them for a really long time, and he's across the pond, so to speak. So if you live closer to him, I would recommend you go check out his website. And there's two reasons why. The first one is because he makes a fantastic bowstring and he's going to take care of you. And the second reason is I want to have your guys' best interest in mind. So if you're over closer to him, you're going to pay much less shipping for his bowstring. If you're buying my bowstrings overseas, which you can if you would like to, but it can cost $15-20 of shipping. It just kind of depends on where you live. So it's just another resource I want to shoot out to you guys, because I'm for archery and I'm for you guys. I want what's best for you guys. Also, Grizzly Jim is all about promoting instinctive archery. That's how I started off shooting in archery, and I don't know anybody who explains that better than he does. So if you want to learn about instinctive archery, check out his YouTube channel. Here's another thing to add on to what he said about tag ends. If you ever receive a bowstring in the mail and it looks like this, it probably just came loose during shipping. Packages can get thrown anywhere in shipping, and the bowstring can move in and out a little bit, and that can cause one of those tag ends to come loose. If you do notice the tag end comes loose in shipping, I recommend to go ahead and string it up on your bow so it's tight. Trim it, put a little wax on there, and you'll be shooting bullseyes in no time. Here's a second situation where it may seem the bowstring is fraying. This is right under the serving section, and what's happened here is the string has slapped the arm guard a little bit. If your form's not great, or you've got a baggy shirt on or something, the string can slap the wrist, or maybe it's slapping your arm guard some and you don't even realize it. Right there, the bowstring can start to fray a little bit. This is very common when you buy a bow standard. Generally, you get a D97 endless loop bowstring with a 6-inch serving section. Now that 6 inches isn't gonna cover where your wrist is, so you don't have that serving string protection for wrist lap. And so these strings start to look like they fray. All you really need to do is wax those down because these strings aren't cut in half. Go ahead and wax those, correct your form, or you could redo the serving and serve further past. And the last way a bowstring could be frayed, it'll look like this. And what has actually happened in this situation is the string got cut. Now this is very uncommon. The only way for this to really happen is for an item, a rock, a broadhead, a knife to cut your bowstring. If you see the split where both strands are up, that's a split. A tag end is gonna be right at the loop with just one strand up and you're good to go, just trim that. But if somewhere else in the middle of the string, you've got a double split, you definitely need to retire that bowstring. Don't use it anymore. You do not want that bowstring to snap and your bow to blow up on you as you're shooting. Retire it, throw it away, and get yourself a new bowstring. Thank you so much for joining me on today's video. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe. Stay positive, be shatterproof, and remember, I'm for you. I'll see you guys on the next video.